Salutations and shit, guys. Welcome to another episode of Travel and Shit, your new favorite travel podcast. More of a conversation on what was learned, what was experienced, and how our lives are different because of travel, and how we view life differently because of travel, as opposed to the where I went, and you know what I did. I'm your host, D. Carrie. So, welcome to all you new niggas, and welcome to all you old niggas. I'm happy to have us all here together. And what was the new? Oh, there is news. 3 points, two old ones. Don't forget to go to WOC Podcasters, going to colorpodcasters.com, so that you can check out the list I have been featured on as one of 10 really fantastical travel podcasters who happens to be women of color for you to check out, as well as purchasing your copy of Keep Calm, Bring Your Carry On, which is a conversation on mental health from the perspective of Black travel influencers. If you go to travelandshippodcast.com, I have conveniently included links for both of said items for you there. You can go to the, I want to say, About page for the link to the article and to the book that you can purchase it on Amazon. And I had the conversation with Jen last week where the color issues should be available in probably a week or so from when I am recording this. Happy St. Patrick's Day because it's Tuesday when I'm recording. So more importantly, happy birthday to my homegirl Lola, which is a past guest of mine. So if you follow her on Instagram now, make sure you send our favorite ass shaking buddy pass grabber a happy birthday. And also, I have a listener survey, and I would love to get to know you guys a little bit better so that I can get an idea of what things you're interested in, and the things that I guess motivate you guys on a regular day-to-day kind of demographic basis. So that too is on travelandshippodcast.com. That is actually the first thing you're going to see on the homepage. So I've made that easy. I've also gone and taken it a step further and just given a bit.ly link. So it's bit.ly/TNS, as in travel and shit, listener survey. So it's bit.ly/TNS, listener survey. So head over there. I'd appreciate you guys taking that survey for me so that I could get a better feel on what kind of audience I actually have. One thing to look at your Instagram analytics and try to figure out if that is going to match the analytics of who actually listens to the podcast. But the survey helps. So I'd appreciate y'all doing that for the kid if you fuck with me. Yeah, that's it. So this week I am fortunate to have another guest for you so that we can have another enthralling and entertaining conversation surrounding the world of travel. And so, my beautiful guest, would you please introduce yourself? Let the people know who you are.
Hey guys, my name is Pelumi Nubi. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, and grew up in the UK. I have been traveling for about 3 years now, and in that time, I've been able to see 60 plus countries from
You
birth to
are
now.
a fucking goat. 60 countries in 3 years, bro. That's
Well,
incredible.
from birth to now, but like I
Okay.
intensively started traveling within for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I teach people how to make traveling safe, easy, and most importantly, doable. And yeah, I'm just, on the grams, showing my nice photos and telling the stories and all of that good stuff. And I stumbled upon your podcast and I was like, can I be a guest? And you were kind enough to say yes. So thank you so much for that.
And what sealed the deal for me was I heard you on Wanda's podcast, Black Women Travel Podcast, and I'm like, yo, she's mad cool. All right, fuck it, yeah, get on this bitch. Like, let's go. This will be easy. It's like sometimes people ask and they're like, oh, hopefully they're not dry. And people all the time be like, oh yeah, I have a travel podcast. Oh yeah, I should totally be on the podcast. Guys, I'm not against anybody being on the podcast. But just because you've been to like Florida once or like the Cancun once, even if you had like a wild and crazy experience, like I can't read your mind. So I
Oh
have no
God.
idea, like,
Yeah.
so,
What?
like,
Like,
why would you be a good guest? And it's like, and the way it sounds in my mind is never the way I would want someone to ask me because I feel like it just sounds mad snotty. So I'm
true.
always I try to be very delicate. I'm like, oh, but sometimes I try to be delicate. Some people, it's just like, bro, you bought the harsh ass answer on yourself, so fuck you. Because I gave somebody else a very and then what's weird is sometimes when you just approach it with a no, like, why would you be a good guest? And then a conversation develops, and then it's like, okay, so
Mhm,
see, that's a conversation
mhm,
that we can have. So it's not
mhm,
that anybody isn't good enough to be, a guest because anybody can have any type of conversation on travel. And that's what I'm trying to kind of portray. That's the message that I'm trying to send is that everybody can travel. Everybody does travel to a certain extent, but it's a matter of what your conversation around the topic can be. And that's what I think opens people's minds. And that's what,
mhm.
in my opinion, makes it more accessible to people because it's more than just, vacations.
True
And
that.
I think that a lot of people get stuck in that portrayal of
Mhm.
what travel is. And they think, like, oh, well, I haven't done that, so I can't have a
Ah,
conversation.
true.
Or just because you've gone on vacation doesn't necessarily mean that somebody wants to listen to you talk. Nobody wants to listen to you talk about your vacation. That's not a
Exactly. Everybody
conversation
want to
that
go
I
on
want.
their vacation. They want to listen to you
Right.
talk.
It's just like so what that's doing for me. Like what about your
I hear you, but
vacation?
okay.
It's like, oh, all right, so I got something that I want to put like in the refrigerator. So I'll call you later. That's what my perception of it is. So what really interests me, oh, and another thing, so that you guys can kind of have a feel for where I'm going, is that another survey, a potential guest survey. So Pelumi filled out the potential guest survey for me, and the first thing that stood out to me is what you actually do. If you wouldn't mind telling people like what your a major priority in your life is right now.
Okay, so right now I am doing my PhD in cancer research and human genetics. I literally just came back from the lab. It was a 14-hour shift. So hence the reason I'm looking very interested. But yeah, so it's kind of just trying to find out how we can genetically modify, certain genes in order to find some possible cure of cancer someday. But yeah, it's a long and tedious process, but it's just an absolute joy. And yeah, I'm in my final year writing my thesis and
Woo.
doing all that good stuff. It's like, whew, about to get there, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
First of all, congratulations, because my
Thank
brother's
you.
in the middle of getting his PhD process, and the shit ain't easy. It's not.
The struggle is real.
So kudos to fucking you. Like, for one, for you to have gotten to the point where you didn't give up, you didn't fucking quit, and you've been able to do it all while traveling. So
Mhm.
you're literally trying to save the world. Like, curing cancer is attuned to saving the world, basically. So, what about that field? Because I'm just nosy. What about that field made you want to what? What's the best way to put it? Why this?
Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I, growing up, I knew I wanted to be in the medical field. I've always been drawn to science. I did it. I majored in it. I've just loved it. I think, when people asked what I wanted to be, it was always going to be, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. So I've always loved that human, physical, being there and just helping people generally, and just, seeing people, recover and all of that. I obsess with, this, what they call them, doctors abroad, where they go to like villages and really like, do transformative stuff. So I've always been, how can you do good? That's kind of been my life motto. How can I make someone in life better? um but I suffer from dyslexia personally, so studying and big things, and it's a long story. But so studying has been quite difficult. So in my A levels, I didn't really get the grades I needed to get into med school. So I kind of like did the biomedical science, which is a bit more generic. And then I discovered, I do want to stick into the research industry. I love the fact that I might not necessarily be in the forefront, but I'm actually doing meaningful work that could some potentially, be quite big. So yeah, that's kind of how I found myself doing what I'm doing right now. And I love every moment of it. I still crave the what's it called, the doctor that kind of like one to one with the patient and things like that. And the reason why travel kind of help with that a little bit, because when you're doing your research and you're quite isolated, you and your projects and your science and your, I call them my babies, I work with fruit flies. um
Really? With fruit
you can't.
flies?
Yeah, fruit fly, just really,
How
yeah.
do you? They're so tiny. How do
I know, they're
you?
so cute. Oh my god.
My brother does a lot of work with like with his rats, like with the mice and stuff.
Yeah,
And I feel
yeah.
like
Fruit flies
in
are
my
even better
mind,
because they are cheaper, easier, lighter to do. Like I literally, if you have go, I mean, after this, I worked the whole. I kind of showcased the whole day on my live on my Instagram stories,
mm,
and usually from lavas are like a grain of rice. That's kind of the size of it, fruit fly lava, and from that you have to dissect the brain, which is like teeny weeny bit.
how is anything small enough to even cut that?
You kind of like pull it apart with like a forceps and just kind of, you need a microscope to do that process. But it's
Right?
like a speck
Because
of dust. It's literally, it builds faith, it builds resilience, it builds patience. I am the most patient person because number one, I have to count flies, hundreds of them, one after the other. So like I got all the patience in the world. And definitely faith, because sometimes you're like, did I put that chemical in it? Like, did I do that stuff? And
hmm
it tends to work. So there's different aspect that science is not just science for me. Science is a bigger thing for me.
mm.
It's much bigger than just the work. I think there's like a calling, there's a ministry in it too as well, and it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. But yeah, definitely a lot of patience. I tell people, and genetically we are about 70% similarities to flies. And I tell people this is exactly why I don't get mad at people, because we are very. Do I
I
need to
see what
finish
you
the
did there.
sentence?
As opposed to like comparing us to fruit flies, like, oh, they're these complex beings. Fuck nah. People
No,
are like people aren't that much brighter than fruit flies. Like some of them
yeah,
just haven't, I guess,
yeah.
developed
Just
or progressed as
just be patient.
far from the fly part as some of us have. Well, damn, that's a really good way
That's
of putting it. That puts
Right to
things in
pivot in it.
perspective.
Makes you really calm. You're just like, yeah, fruit
Like,
fly,
okay,
humans,
you're
yeah.
closer to a fly than I am. You know what? Science. Shit, I can't fix that. You can't fix science. So, how have you been able to do this and travel? Like, how do you combine your studies, your life as a student, and as a researcher with all of the traveling you've been able to do?
I say the mistake people try to make is to create some kind of balance. I never think balance is ever attainable. I think when you're balancing, you're losing out on things. I am big on prioritizing. So like today,
Okay.
as I said, big on, I've done my whole lab work, and then this is priority. I'm here showing up for my travel side of things. When it comes to traveling, I'm always telling people, explore your neighborhood. I'm not flying off to Bali every weekend. It just doesn't work feasibly. But being based in London and exploring Europe, it's very doable. Budget airline is there. You got like bank holidays. Because I'm a student PhD, I'm quite flexible. I tell people the Christmas, last Christmas, or the Christmas after before that, my supervisor literally gifted me a scratch map. That's how much they knew I like to travel. I never hid it from them. Like it's a passion. It's something I enjoy
Right.
doing. So as long as the work get done, if it's
Right.
needing to work 24 hours, ridiculous
hmm
hours, then I can take a day, 2 days off, and explore. So it's just getting that, prioritizing. Okay, this needs to get done. I need to get these projects. I need to get out of the way, and then I got like a 4 days holiday in somewhere in
And you
Europe,
could be in a
chilling.
whole nother country.
Exactly. So just finding those things that work for you. And it is doable. And I always say something: if it's important for you, you will make a way. You will make it work.
Absolutely.
You'll find a way. Yeah.
I agree with that 100%
Mm.
because I know that as one thing that I always use as like my gauge, as my guide, is that whenever I call my dad with something, he always finds a way to make it happen. And it's
Mm.
because I know that I'm important to him. So
Mm.
if I call him at like 3 o'clock in the morning and my car wouldn't start and I'm in Harlem or I'm in Brooklyn, if
Mhm.
he can't come up and get me himself, he'll fine. All right, well, I'll call AAA. I'll make sure they get
Mhm.
there. I'll stay on the phone with you till they get there, or call me back when they get there, or you know what I mean, like whatever the case is. And so I 100% agree with you. But like when something's important to you, you find a way to make
You
sure
find
that
a
those
way.
things get done.
I've done, literally coming from the airport, landing around 11, going straight to the lab. I've done red
Mhm.
eye fly and blue eye fly, and just trying to get to where I need to be in time for to be able to balance to be able to work everything out. So yeah, I think like you said, it's very doable.
So you just said that you're in UK, and
Mhm.
right now the world is a total shit show with
Oh Jesus.
um, the Rona. Uh, so, as someone that's in Europe, especially
Hmm.
someone in the science field, what has, considering you know something, you have a higher level of understanding, I would assume,
Yeah.
about how these things happen in terms of being in the medical field and in the medical science end of it.
Hmm.
What has your experience been, especially as somebody that's in Europe?
For people like me, in terms of like within the travel industry, like working and getting paid as like a side gig, or even like a full-time kind of job for some of my other friends and colleagues, is devastating in terms of like trips have to be cancelled, move. I've got like sponsorship deals that had to be postponed and things like that. So in terms of, I think the finance impact is even greater than the health impact. I feel people have totally lost it in terms of how much they're panicking. And I don't blame them. The media they're pumping so
Right,
much misinformation that just put fear in people. And once people are afraid, they panic and they, act irrational. That's when you see people fighting over tissue and you're like, what is going on exactly?
right,
So I feel, the best thing that you can do is wash your hands. Don't put your hands on your face as much as I am doing right now, but I have washed my hands when I came in.
same.
And just be calm, listen to the science people rather than just the media, because the media, finds ways to frame words that are not necessarily false, but not the truth either. And self-isolation, I think that's kind of the one of the few and probably the best ways. And I think that's why lots of countries are literally shutting down their borders and just, finding ways to like just prevent people from moving, because the more we move, as a lot of people are now seeing that they are positive and they're not even showing symptoms at all. So you can't even rely on, okay, so I'm being feverish or coughing or whatever, because you can be appear healthy but not necessarily be healthy. So as a healthy individual, you're kind of okay, because I don't want to minimize it because people are dying from this. So I don't want to say, oh, it's just a flu, but it is a flu. So you can recover if you have like a high immune system and you've been taking vitamins and all of that stuff. But the people that are in high risk are the older people, the people that immune compromised. So they either take the drugs or whatever, or they have other underlying illness. So those are the kind of people that you have to consider. So I could, jet off somewhere and say, YOLO, I'm great. But then I got grandmas and, parents that might be a bit older and their immune might not be that good. So I have to think about them, So most of the time when you're self-isolating, so, even at work and stuff like that, I'm working in my lab, I'm literally the only one there. So I'm technically self-isolating by working. So just finding ways that, as long as you're washing your hands and you're keeping clean in general, I really hope it just blows over and everything can get back to normal. I think we just finished with Brexit and like this hit, and it's just like,
Yeah,
just gotta be
yeah.
something, isn't it?
So how long have you been in UK?
What do you say?
How long have you been in the UK?
I've been here for about 15 years,
Oh wow.
give or
So like
take.
that's relatively home for you then.
Yeah, the concept of home is a very complex one,
Mm,
extremely complex for me. I think for a very long time it was where was I for the longest of time, and for a long time I was born in Nigeria and I grew up in Nigeria, so Nigeria was home for me for a very very long time. And then the more years I spend more in the UK compared to Nigeria, it's like, does this become my home now? So yeah, that's a very big debate, and I'm actually even working on a big project in terms of finding people that have been relocated, because I was, yeah, long story. I was relocated without knowing I was being relocated. So that kind of caused some kind of
Oh, I
trauma and all of that stuff.
remember
Remember that story?
hearing that. Well, if you could, okay, so I don't want to have like an inside story. So if you could go ahead and like kind of
Okay.
explain that, you can go into as little or as much detail as you want.
Yeah, sure. So I was 10 or so, 10, 11, I think. And my mom was like, summer holiday, we tend to travel, but this was my first international trip. So we've done local trips, Abuja and stuff like that, but this was my first international trip. I went to see my aunt in the States, and we went there. It was really fun, all good and all of that. And then we're coming back home to Nigeria, start school. Summer is over, we're coming back to school. And my mom was like, oh, let's just stop over, see an aunt based in London. And here we are 15 years later.
Wow.
Obviously with the right documentation and stuff, because my dad was British and all of that stuff. But it was just so sudden, it was
Right.
insane. It was like very my concept of home since then has definitely changed, because and I had the same thing almost happen to me 2 months ago. So I moved to another house. I've been in the city I've been for a while, and I moved to another house because they were reselling or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm finishing my PhD. I want this place to be mine. I painted it, put plants,
Hmm.
when you make somewhere home,
Yeah, you settled in.
and exactly settled in. And then 2 months later, I got another letter because, as much as recession is happening, they want to sell this new place I just moved to. And it just came all flooding. And I didn't even know when I started to cry, because I was just like, I
I
just made
painted.
this place. I
Fuck.
painted,
I hate
like
painting. You can't give me that time and energy back. Fuck y'all.
I I
I would have
painted.
been so
I've
hot.
always dreamt of like a white room. I want white walls, that
Hmm.
really clean,
Yeah, yeah,
minimalistic,
yeah.
I had a big window opposite a tree. Spring would
Oh
just come in,
shit.
the leaf would
The
coming
vision
out.
came together
Oh,
and they just
the vision was perfect. And then got this email, maybe letter, an email saying, oh, we're sorry, you're gonna move by the end of March, so this month. So I moved to another place now, but this I was just like, just
fuck it. I'm here.
like, I'm just here. I'm existing. I ain't
Yeah.
making it. So
I'll
it's
give it
been
some
yeah,
time.
exactly. It's been a recurring thing. Like when I think, so home is very, very interesting concept, and I think a lot of people do feel that way. I wrote a whole poem about um, when I was seeing someone, and they were asking me like, what do I do when things get tough? Do I head home, or do I run away? And I responded that I head home. But the
Mm,
person did not know that I meant the road. The road was my home, picking up and going. And that's why I enjoy exploring and traveling, because it just, everywhere I go to, I find a little bit of home there. I can't explain to people. And it's just like, um, it gives me a bit of, you don't have to set roots, but you're welcome, which
mm.
is nice. So I found it hard to talk bad about a certain country or whatever, because it's just like, it gave me so much that I probably lost a while back. So I can't really say anything negative about it. But yeah, home is a very complex thing, and a lot of people have different perspectives. Sometimes a place, sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's just what it is. So yeah.
So I guess when you travel, is it easy for you to feel comfortable in a place, or do you hold off on feeling comfortable in a place because you might leave it soon? So, or
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, is it the transit that feels comfortable for you? Is it the transition? Is that what feels like home? Or is it kind of like the ability to not feel attached to some place
I think it's the ability not to feel attached to some place. Like, no,
and
that's why I
still
like number.
be
I
happy and
and
still
still be
find,
happy. I
okay.
like being happy in the process, in not needing to settle down or unpack. I like the
Hmm.
feeling of leaving out my backpack, and that I can pack up and go anytime, anywhere. I think I like that.
Okay.
It's become quite, yeah. So in the journey, home is in the journey.
So where was the last place that you were able to travel? Are you able to travel freely now with all like no, you're stuck in
I'm
UK now.
basically stuck. Yeah, I'm stuck. I was meant to go to quite a proper place. I'm meant to be in Brussels this weekend, obviously they have the whole shutdown going on. I was meant to be, um, because of work trips sometimes allow me to go to conferences, but every conference has been canceled till, till further notice. But yeah, the last place I was able to go, lucky enough, was actually Ireland, last
Ooh,
weekend.
that's on my
Yeah.
short list of places I want to
Yeah,
see. How was that?
you
Where did you go?
should. I went to Dublin. I actually have
Hmm.
family up there, so that's really good. I was able to see my niece. I was able to see my folks, so that was really nice.
It warms my
So I was
heart
there.
that there are
Yeah,
black.
I was
They're
there for
black,
two
right?
days. Weekend.
They're black
Was
up
that?
there.
They're black?
The family that you went to see in Dublin,
Oh
they're
yeah,
black.
yeah, 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 yeah. Proud to the
Feeling
people.
sitting there. That makes me feel good. Like, all right, so if I look, oh, I can
Yeah,
expect to
yeah,
see
yeah.
maybe
Oh
a
yeah.
few.
Oh,
We're here.
plenty, plenty. Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
nice,
Dublin is
nice.
multi. Yeah, it's diverse. I don't think it's not. Yeah, you see them. Yeah, you go, girl.
Even more excited. I really was. Now it's like picked up like 4 spots on my
You
list.
know, like
So, how
whoop.
long were you able to stay there?
Just for the weekend.
Okay.
So I tend to do weekend trips. If I'm lucky, I
Hmm.
can do like a bank holiday or like a Thursday to Monday,
Right, right.
depending. So yeah, well, my trips are usually quite short and sweet. Um, I tend to, probably like spend the day kind of exploring, doing the walking tour if I'm exploring a
Hmm.
place. I think most trips, longest I probably say is 5 nights. I don't know. After
Same,
that, I just become unsettled.
same.
Except I'm like going to like different cities within the country, yeah, I can stay for longer. But if I'm just in one
Hmm.
city, I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
I
that
will
would
go
drive me crazy.
now.
So, what in the travel industry exactly do you do?
So I'm a content creator. I think I won't say I'm a blogger. I blog once in a while, but I'm more of a content creator. So my page is basically to inspire people to travel. Mostly on Instagram. I kind of like just post not picture perfect. I don't want to use that word. I think more like pictures that will inspire you to go to a place. I think that's kind of
Okay.
like the goal. And actually, I do things like Travel Thursdays, whereby teach people how to travel, making travel easy, safe, and doable. So when it comes to traveling as a Black solo female, I tell people that's like a triple whopper, like
Right.
you are quite vulnerable in some situations. So just, teaching people how to be more safer and how to do it affordably as a student. So, things have to be very cheap. So yeah, that's kind of what and I do a lot of like speaking engagement, talking to, group of people about, how to travel better, how to be a better traveler, sustainability wise, and just like giving back to communities and things like that. So yeah, it's quite broad and narrow at the same time, but it's cool.
In terms of traveling safely, like what would be not a really, but what would be an experience you had that I guess kind of taught you how to be safer?
um I have like a rule. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I have like a rule personally. I don't post in real time. So I'm posting Iceland content, and that was in December. Like we were 3 months into it. So if there's anyone stalking me, mates, you are
Right.
long off,
Have
So
fun.
have fun. So I always tell people, especially ladies, I had a friend or work colleague. She posted about in like a cafe kind of like setup, and she geotagged the location, just cash. A couple of minutes later, a guy come over and goes, "Oh, you are so and so. I just saw your post, so I came over," and it was just like weird. And
Yeah.
obviously, because of that response, and then the person went on to say something like, "Oh, you seem more nicer online. Why are you so stuck up?"
Yeah,
And
bitch,
it was
because
just
you
like,
ain't in my face
"Who you?"
online. Shit. The fuck you
Who
thought?
you know? So we got I have every time I post a location, I always get the spammy man. I think it was in, oh, I'm trying to remember the place. It's not Finland, just below it. Oh gosh, it's gone blank. But I was posting and someone just like, "DM me, do you want to have sex?" And I was like, "No, what the
No.
flip?"
Yeah, I certainly do not.
So I think I screenshot and I was like, "This is exactly why I don't post." And I was home by then, and it's like just weirdos, just weird people online, and that's the truth. So yeah,
I
just
would.
be smart about, you can post about locations and stuff, but probably when you've left, to like, I'll say that's kind of like my top tip when it comes to like solo travel and just being safe in general.
Okay, so with your travels, what has been, I guess, one of the places that you felt the most uncomfortable in? Like,
Oh Jesus.
or has it happened?
Oh, yeah, it has. That was Marrakech, Morocco. Never again, ever,
Really? What happened there?
ever. I think the mistake I made was I went there solo because my friends and a few other people have gone with groups and they did not have the same experience. But everyone I've spoken to that have gone solo had the same experience I did. I've never felt so violated in a place before. Like it was the staring and then the touching, like going through the markets and stuff like that. And it got to a point, I think this is where I kind of drew the line. It got to a point I was thinking, oh, maybe because I'm wearing my Western clothing, maybe I'm standing out. So they know I'm foreign, But then I'm thinking this was my 50th country member because I was like, I'm home. I'm in Africa. Like you guys, just
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah.
So I actually got their traditional boo where like you see it on my feed if you check it out.
Yeah, like a
It's one of the
tunic
first,
kind
like
of.
yeah, like a very long, loose,
Yeah.
baggy, the
I know what
most
you're talking about.
unsexual, clothing.
Mhm.
And I still got catcalled, and I couldn't process it. I was just like, what are you guys doing? Like, so yeah, it was just very uncomfortable. I did not feel comfortable. And, I like I said, I grew up in Lagos. I grew up in a place whereby you go in the market and you get, pulled or come by, come by. It wasn't that. It was just very sexual. There was
Okay.
just something that wasn't comfortable. So yeah, I'll say I'll give it another try, but maybe with a girlfriend or just check out other places. So there's Fez, Casablanca. I heard is good. So
I
yeah, the
haven't been
other
down to
regions
Casablanca.
I'll definitely check out. But Marrakesh is beautiful. Please don't get me wrong. It's amazing. Like the
Mhm.
detailing of the palaces and stuff like that. The garden, amazing. But yeah, it just kind of puts a damper on the show. But hey,
Okay, and inversely, not necessarily a place where you had like a fun time, because I would assume that that's a lot of different places, but what would
mm.
be a place or an experience you can think
Ooh.
back on that you would say you learned the most about yourself, and like what did you
Oh wow, that's a good question. You're good.
learn? Thank you.
um. Oh, I've done so many trips. I'm trying to see. Okay, my mind keep calling me to the most recent one, and that was um I did this whole road trip from Lagos to the initial plan was to go all the way to Ivory Coast, but we ended up just stopping in Ghana, which is like 4 countries. So we did Benin Republic, Togo, then Ghana.
Nice.
I did number one because everyone was just like, "You're crazy! You're gonna get kidnapped! You're insane! It's Africa! Blah blah blah! You're gonna die of malaria!" And. And then at one point, I started to feel the fear. And the biggest lesson from that is if you listen to all the white noise and all the everyone, you would start. It should stop. I've always said one of my superpower is not being scared. If someone so go to Iraq this moment, even though because the borders are closed for some certain places, I might still be traveling. I just don't feel fear when it comes to traveling because I feel a lot worse could happen to you. But at this point, I started really reconsidering, and I was like, when your hands are shaking, and I'm like, wow, like, this fear
Yeah,
people
right.
talk about when it comes to traveling. This stuff is real. Like, I'm scared. Like, so I started internalizing that and processing other people's fear were portraying upon me, and I started like, really internalizing it. So yeah, I was definitely say when you want to do big journeys or trips or things that are a bit wild or crazy, try to shut the noise out. And it went amazing. Like it's probably been my best summer. Like
Oh wow.
2019 was probably the best summer of my life. It was great. Like it was epic. It was we flew in to go see. So we actually flew into Ghana and did a road trip back to Lagos because I wanted to
Mhm.
meet the Charlie Water Festival. If you guys are anywhere in Ghana during the summer, you have to check it out. It's a beautiful art festival of culture,
Ooh.
tradition. It was just beautiful to see. Like it was undiluted. It was just epic. So
And
we
what
were able
part
to.
of the year is that? Like what part of the summertime is that?
It was late August.
Okay.
Yes, like last week in August. But if you just Google Charlie Water 2020, I can't remember the dates.
What's it
But
called?
yeah,
Write it down.
Charlie Water, C
How do you spell
H
that?
Chala. Charlie
Color
Water
water.
Fest. Yeah. So
What is that? WA.
Chale
Mhm.
and then Wote.
Okay, got it. And that's
Yeah.
in Ghana. You said Ghana, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've just seen it.
So,
From Friday, August 21st, 2020.
oh, protocol
Oh,
like
it's called
nothing.
Beyond the Return. So it's usually
Well,
like a week
mm-hmm,
stuff. So I went the very last day, which was even more mad because like everyone was just this big celebration, and
mm-hmm.
it was like a whole street. It was in Jamestown, shut down, and there were like bike shows and art and music and dancing,
Nice.
and yeah, it was just
Who did you
epic.
go with?
I went with a friend of mine. So we did the whole road trip together. It was really good.
Hmm. And how long did you guys drive down?
So it was about a 7 days to about 8 days. So it was, yeah,
Okay,
it was quite
that's
short.
a nice trip.
Yeah, it was a nice trip. So we did Ghana for like 3 days, and then we did 2 days in each place, and then back to Lagos. But Lagos I was there for like a week plus.
That's a
So
actually
yeah,
really nice trip. You were able to do like 2 days each. How much
yeah,
driving do
yeah,
you think you did between like how much
yeah. So
driving do you think you had to do?
Between Ghana and Togo, Togo is another beautiful place. The beach is undeniably amazing. Like, so that was about hmm, it depends on what routes you took, because we took public transport, so we had to like go to the bus, because I really wanted the
Oh,
authentic. Yeah, I didn't really drive. I
I
took
thought
like
you
the
were trying.
public. Oh yeah, that's why I did not tell my father till I arrived.
you, you know who you're
Literally,
dealing with.
he was like, "Oh, I'll send the driver to come pick you up from the airport," and I was like, you mean the bus station?" And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I'm back already."
It's cool. It's cool. I made it. Oh
I'm
yeah, my dad would
like,
fucking kill
"Ew."
me too.
I couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell him. Like,
Oh,
I
you
was like,
bold. Just do your little check-in. Hey, I'm okay. Don't worry about it. How you guys
exactly.
doing?
He was like,
Yeah.
a cool little video here and there. Let's see your friends. Here's my friends.
Right.
Here's Ghana.
But I think he probably felt better that you didn't go by yourself this time. That
Yeah,
had to
yeah, yeah,
have.
yeah. That he was like,
Hmm.
he kept asking, "Would you know that?" I'm like, going to friends, we know people. And Instagram, guys, like Instagram, I think people say social media has like, it's negative, but it has so much positive. Like, my Ghana trip was made so good because of two other friends I met on Instagram. I literally said, "I'm coming," and they went wow, like beyond my mind could expect. Like
Oh
they
wow.
planned trips, they, took us in, like really, really pleasant people. Like I just feel like you can really meet some great people on the interweb.
Yeah, I've met some
Um,
really good people too. Instagram.
yeah, honestly. So yeah, so we did Togo about 6 hours, maybe 6 hours trip, by the bus, depending how long you're waiting. And then you just cross the border to Benin Republic, and then I was able to go to Ouida, which is like the capital of like voodoo, and able to learn about all of that, the
Oh
tradition behind
wow.
it. Yeah, going to a place of no
Oh, that would be
return, and
so
oh my
ill to
god,
do it
it was
in fucking Africa.
amazing.
Cause I did
Definitely recommend it.
a trip like not a trip but in Cuba where
Okay.
they I forgot where it's called but I did a Santeria tour there.
Mm,
And of course, they talked about how a lot of it was a lot of West African religion that came over, and then you mix in with a little bit
mm,
of the Christianity, just so the little white folks are like, oh, yeah, you're doing what
mm-hmm.
we're doing, right, right. Yeah, we are. And we're not.
Wink, wink.
And they did a lot of, explanations. They broke this down. This is what this means. If you see this, this is representative of this. And it was incredible. And they only did like small portion of voodoo, hoodoo, and like
Mm,
one or two other religions. And that's one of the things that I really do enjoy. One, I like experiencing the diaspora wherever I go.
mm-hmm.
If you got a black ass tour for some kind of black shit, I would like to be
I would like
present
to be
and
part of
part
it.
of
Yeah,
whatever it is that you're
it was
doing. But
so
I
good.
also really love being able to experience different religions in the
Mm,
different places where they're primarily practiced. So
yeah,
that would definitely be something I'd be interested in.
you will
Where
love
was
it.
that
You
one
love
you
it.
said?
That was in Benin, in the spiritual capital called Ouida. So that's where it's called.
WEDA?
Yeah, OUIDA, I think. Sorry, dyslexia.com, and to quickly do that search. OUIDA. Yeah, OUIDAH, Ouida. So literally opposite the Python temple, there's like a church. So you get a lot of people that are both Christian and practice voodoo at the same time. I've never seen that before. Literally, my tour guide said that, they have the marking and they worship the pythons. You know, you cannot kill the pythons. They're quite friendly. If you see them on the street, just bring them back to Python Temple. And yeah, really, really cool. I definitely recommend it. And you know, if you're not into that, you can just chill by, you know, the beach. Really
I
amazing
love to
beaches
say
as
you said the
well.
beaches is fire.
Yeah,
So
the
shit,
fire,
we
really
both.
cool.
Damn, I
Really,
want to
really
go so bad
cool.
now. Oh, that's gonna be so dope. So aside of that spectacular fucking trip, back to your fruit flies. I would
Mm.
want to know what trip I would say had you use your patience the most. Where do you think you had to be the most patient? Like what travel
Ooh,
experience?
wow, wow. This is very good. Where'd you get these questions from?
I ain't coming with nothing planned. I be pulling shit out my ass, bro. I just really enjoy talking
Oh my
about travel.
God.
Like, and you're a really easy person to talk to. So it's just like, you know, I'm taking my little
Oh
notes. I said
my
prioritizing, writing that down. I got my notes on the side. Like, she fucking
deal.
right. If it matter, it matter.
I'm trying to think because I think traveling, you gotta be patient. You know, I don't get when people that the plane just land and you're standing already. Like that stuff drives me crazy. Like,
Oh,
girl,
I can't take it. I can't. Like, where you going, fam? Like, we stuck.
like
Sit
sometimes I
down.
have to stand up so that the person that is inside can get up and stand, and I just sit right back down because it's just
Over
they're
me.
all shifting and agitating, just get me or
I'm
vex.
like,
I'm just like, you know what,
that's
you want to
why I
get
do a
out?
window
Okay,
seat. I do the window
exactly.
seat and I sit
Window is
there.
my thing, and they're like, the noise is like when they're looking at me to get up. I'm just like, the door ain't even open. They ain't even break. Like we're all gonna wait to get into this bus. So it doesn't matter how if that would then transfer to the terminal. So you could rush, but we all gonna get into that bus. Like it drives me
Right.
nuts.
It's like
So
when they stand up before they start boarding the plane. Yo, like
I'm
to
like,
sit
we have
down. Like
assigned
they're
seats. No
on
one's
like
gonna
first
sit on your
class.
seat.
You back in zone D with me, my guy. Like chill. Like we're gonna get there. Like they're assigned seats. It's not like we trying to get on the train. We don't gotta fight for this.
Yeah, first come, first serve. Like we got seats. Like chill.
Exactly. It's like I understand scanning for the overhead space. Like I get that you might
Yeah.
be a little like,
But you got
oh,
your
I want some
backpack
place to
and
put
that's
my
all you
bag.
got. Why are you standing? Like that backpack would fit in front of
You don't even have carry-on luggage, fam. Like, chill. Like, what is your rush? You don't have shit to carry
I
on.
can
And another
relate.
thing that pissed me the fuck off, this is where I have to be fucking patient, is when they don't understand the hierarchy of the fucking overhead. Take your janky ass little expensive SIBO and airplane shit out the overhead. Put that shit under your seat, my guy, or at least stack it on top of somebody else's fucking book
Exactly.
bag. Where I'm putting
Oh
a
my
fucking
God.
suitcase.
What the
Move y'all
business
janky
is?
ass little funky ass coats out the way so I can put my shit up here. And I will be the person to tap somebody like, this you?
Is that yours?
This you right here? Okay, so I'm moving it over. It's on top of her shit where it makes sense. How about that? Fuck, stay mad. And I'm gonna recline my seat. But sorry. So yes, people on and off the plane. Besides traveling and getting to your destination, where have you had to be the most patient?
um, I think in any country that English is not their first language.
Mm.
I'm trying to think like on top of my head. Because most of Europe, you know, they do speak English. But I'm trying to think quickly where I have to be. I think is when I even go home. I think my
Mm.
country, I think Nigeria, I have
Really?
to be patient because it just don't the system is very different. I don't want to say it doesn't work, but the system is very different. So you go to the bank, you know, you're in the UK, you go to the bank, you have your number, you do your business, you get out. But going to the bank in Nigeria is a whole day ordeal. Like you get there, you know, there's like people that know people, so they just kind of like pushing in front of you, and like it's just, you know, there might not be light, so you know, NEPA takes light, or you know what they call themselves, and that's it. You know, that's it. End of business day. The concept of customer service sometimes is not the highest. You know, they don't really
Mm.
believe in the whole customers are right business, so they're just like,
Mm.
I woke up this morning and opened my shop for you, so you should be grateful. That's kind of,
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of the mentality. So you're just like, I'm giving you
I'm
money,
giving you
like,
money, right? But I didn't. We're not doing this for free.
like I'm
Oh.
paying. So I think back home sometimes, I
Hmm.
think I have to definitely just put up my, this is how it should be, like, why is there so much traffic? You could be stuck in traffic for hours, and you're just like, you best have a good form of entertainment, some kind of, like, something to keep you entertained, because you'll be there for 4 6 hours in traffic. It's real, it happens. I know, it gives me a migraine just thinking about it.
And I hate
So,
driving like 10
oh
minutes. That was
yeah, 4 hours, from airports to destination, and you're just like, this is the same time it took me to come from abroad, and
You
I'm
could have been in a
stuck.
whole nother country.
And
You took a 6 hour bus trip from, fuck, where'd you go from? Ghana to Benin in 6 hours,
exactly.
and I can't get from the
I
fucking
can't get
airport in
from
the
the
same
airport
amount of time.
the
God
same within the
damn.
same city. So
Yep.
yeah, just having that, what's it called? Yeah, just having that patience, and just knowing that,
Hmm.
what, sometimes some countries you go to, they're just very chilled and very laid back, and they don't get like being rushed. So just, going with the flow. There's a lot of places up in Scandinavia, if they don't really rush that much, just very, very pace. They're efficient, but they still don't rush. In London, you're
Right.
rushing. You're rushing to get the bus, you're rushing to get the train. But you go some places, and everybody's just like, okay, there's another one in 2 minutes. We'll just catch that one. There's no need to run. So yeah, just adapting to whatever the tradition or whatever the belief system is, compared depending on where you're going to. So yeah.
I think the place I had to be the most patient was in fucking Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Yeah, it the customs there was,
Mm.
and it was interesting because I was in Amsterdam and I was actually at the Labyrinth. It's a restaurant in I don't know what area of Amsterdam, but it's a restaurant in Amsterdam. I want to say it's black owned. I found them initially on Travel Noir, and I went there and I met the owner Sam. And sadly, I just saw that they posted that they had to, of course, shut down. I think they're doing takeout now, but because of the whole Corona
Corona thing. Okay.
thing, yeah. But I was talking to, I can't remember her name. She was so kind. I guess one of the other owners, and she was telling me, "Oh, you're traveling solo. So be prepared. They're going to question you a lot in Tel Aviv." And I kind of like just dismissed it, like, "Oh, okay, oh,
Oh
well,
yeah, yeah,
sure."
whatever. Okay.
And then I got there. When I tell you, I spent 5 minutes with this girl asking me questions, and this was
Oh
before I
Jesus.
even got to like go through security to, like did I have my boarding pass? I think I had my boarding pass because I had it on my phone or something, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole process before you do security, like checking bags and all that other kind of shit. And
Yeah.
she takes your passport, she goes through all the pages to see like where you've been, and then she
Bruh.
asks you, so in when did you go to Thailand? And then she looks at you so dryly. And
Oh
I'm
Jesus.
like,
Can you see the dates? That
I mean,
happened to
you got my
me.
passport. I'm like, I don't know. Thankfully, I've only been traveling for 3 years. So I'm like, within the last 3 years. That was my answer for everything. Like, oh, a year or two
That
ago.
happened to me in Turkey.
And then they're like, did you go by yourself? Why did you go? How much time did you spend there? Did you come back alone? Did you pack your own bag? And she asked me this for like 16 different fucking countries. And it's
Oh
like,
my God.
we spent, so it was like, when I say it was like 5 minutes, it wasn't like, how somebody says, oh, it took me 5 minutes to get in. And it literally took like 92 seconds. It was
Mm-hmm.
really like a full 5 minutes. We could have done so much dialogue in like a show or a movie or something you're watching. And it was like, I get it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, my dad was pointing out to me, he was just like, Israel's been having issues for years. They're not new to
Mm.
this
Mm.
heightened security thing. So
Mm.
like chill. And it's just like you can't talk your shit. Like you can't have like whatever American attitude or wherever the fuck you're from, because it ain't like Americans is the only people that have attitudes. But you just have to realize that you're going to somebody else's house. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like trying to put
Just
your feet up on somebody else's table. Like, yo, chill. Like you're
yeah,
going into somebody else's
just
home. This is where
be
people
patient.
live. So
Yeah.
it's you just deal with it. You know what I mean? But that was the place where I had to really just kind of, because I really wanted to like say some smart shit,
Like
but it was just
I
like,
know,
for
but you just
what?
gotta be
What
like,
is that gonna get me? You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
just probably
I
gonna
feel
delay
you.
me even more
I
because I
feel you.
know when people get smart with me at work, I'll be like, oh,
Oh,
you want to play a game?
you
Oh, bitch, I clocked
is it
in
two
and
can
I'm getting
tango?
paid. Oh, we could do this. I already had lunch. I don't gotta use the bathroom. Nothing. We could be
Oh,
here. I'm
girl,
not on
I'm
a time
crying.
constraint. You are. What time your flight leaves, sis? All right, I got
Exactly.
about 4 questions past when that bitch leaves. So let's do it. So it's like when people honk at you and you driving. Oh, so you want me to slow down? Oh, cool, cool,
That
cool.
happened to me last week. Oh my god. Literally, the light just changed. Like it was a nanosecond.
Like you was waiting
But
at that red with your
trust
hands
me,
over the horn. You was
trust me.
waiting.
It was the worst decision he ever made because it was a one-way street, and I started driving
Oh, you got him.
I was driving a 5 in a 30. Like I will, if I could slow, and
Right. You know what? Let
I
me
could,
just stop right
see
here.
his face go red, and I was like, oh, I was loving.
Yo, my dad's good for that too. He's like, oh, you hugging at me? Cool. We both gonna wait. I ain't in a rush. So we gonna go this 5 miles and I would just make this difficult for you. And guess what? You know what? Just so that you're even more upset, I'll even wait at this next light with you, man. Cause it's like, cause you know, if like you make it so you get through the light, but they can't, some of them will just take that light. Nah, bitch.
No,
We both
I'll
wait for
wait.
this shit. Cause I'm not in a rush. Fuck you and your feelings.
Oh,
Sometimes it
people
just,
be
hey, yo, just
testing you. You just
yeah,
gotta be patient. Just be like, no, okay, we're gonna wait.
right. Like we don't
but
gotta
you,
keep doing.
but you definitely made a good point, and I think it's very important. I think sometimes when you're traveling, the frustration of traveling, getting tired, and then getting asked these questions, you sometimes just want to spark. But reasoning with yourself and saying, what is it? This, like I said, it happened to me in Turkey. I was coming from Nigeria, I had like a layover in Turkey, and I was going, and the guy was asking, he literally the same thing. He held my passport and was asking me dates. I was like, do you see how many stamps in that passport? I don't remember. I don't know. Like, like I could give you a
Right. I don't know.
guesstimate, but I cannot tell you when exactly. And he passed me through extra security and bag search, and I was just like, bro, I'm trying to get home.
Yeah, and
But
that bag search was crazy. When I tell you they made me unpack everything, like they take everything out, they run the little thing on the back of all your shoes.
I'm like, you ain't gonna find nothing, so let's go.
Okay, so good thing I don't have like no fucking
Oh my
news
god,
in
that only
here
happened to
or
me once in
nothing.
Birmingham. That's why I don't fly from Birmingham no more. They did that whole skep thing, and they found explosive on my laptop. I know. I was like, and the lady wasn't quiet about it. So the whole
And they looking at you like
security,
you. So what happened?
they had to do like an intense search and stuff.
Where the fuck
It
did it
was
come
not cool.
from?
I don't know, from the lab or something. I'm guessing from the
Oh,
lab.
you had it in the.
I probably took
Oh.
it to the lab and something got cross contaminated. Something must have
Sometimes it
happened.
doesn't pay to be fucking smart.
No,
See?
it doesn't. So when I was like, I had to bring my ID card, I was like, well, I'm a scientist, so maybe in the lab,
Right.
maybe something. And they were like, oh, okay, that that
Mm-hmm.
explains a little bit. So
Yeah, because I guess
allowed
some
to go.
things that are in explosives are in a
Yeah,
lot of other things. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just like
exactly,
it's not like it's just
exactly. It's
this
not
one
really
thing is
depth.
an explosive. It's just
Exactly.
something that's in the same shit. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
But
kind
she
of
was like, "Mom, we detect like." I was like, "You want to bring a mic in here or something because you couldn't be louder."
god damn. They're kind of be like, I'm sorry, but your card was declined. You know, it's like, I mean, damn.
Legit the same. Like, can we go to a closed room or
You could
something?
have, you
Like,
know what I
what?
mean? Be like, step on this side and be like, just come up here just a second. We like to further ask you a few more questions. Okay, we'll do it over here. No.
Mom, I was like, oh wow, okay, you're loud.
Damn. So
But
with
yeah,
all this Rona shit going on, what would you suggest that people that are seeing, I guess, a slowdown in business or an increase in extra time in terms of the travel industry? Like, how would you suggest being a traveler that's used to traveling, reacclimating yourself to travel? Because it's not that people are getting. So let me caveat this way. I was very much a part of the whole people are making a big deal out of nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the
Saving
numbers,
us
like
on the bank account.
80,000 people,
Yeah.
died of the regular ass flu last
Yeah.
year. So this little
Yeah.
3,000 is really not, I'm thinking numbers, right? But
Yeah.
then media, information,
Mm-hmm.
information. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you
Mm-hmm.
start seeing stay home orders, you
Yeah.
can't leave, we're shutting this
Yeah.
whole city down, and all of
Exactly.
these things around the world happening, and
Mm-hmm.
people being stuck in different countries, having issues getting back, testing. So
Quarantine
there's a
and all of
million things that are happening that are
that.
really like, I get that everything is for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
but when the air starts to clear, how do you suggest people kind of step back into travel without, I guess, making things difficult for themselves, or while kind of, I guess you can say, the safe way to do it? Because it hasn't been stopped for a reason. Like, I see what's in my head and I'm trying to make it come out so that it makes sense. People are
Yeah.
stopping the travel because there are germs that are everywhere. Travel is
Yeah.
just gross in general. It's
In
trash.
general, it's
People are
disgusting, but
just
yeah.
disgusting because nobody washes their hands. And we're seeing that with so many people getting sick.
Yeah.
But with that fear of, I don't know where this plane came from, who's been on this plane, like,
Okay.
how can people get back into it with a clear mind and a clear conscience, knowing that things are kind of not okay, but that they're doing their best part to stay safe when they're able to travel again?
I said, like I said earlier on, just be clean, wash your hands. Travel with some antiseptic wipes and just like clean down everything, just
Which you should have
minimal,
been doing
the
before
tray.
all
Exactly.
of this shit.
You shouldn't be storing stuff in
The seat
what do you
pocket.
call that netty thing? Yeah, the
Yeah,
seat
that seat
pocket. I,
pocket.
I think it's the most grossest place. That's where people put the puke after the puke. That's where people put their tissues. That's where the people put just crap load of shit.
Everything
So
goes there.
just don't put stuff there. Don't, try not to use the tray, if you don't need to eat anything. I tend to be like short hold fry, so I can skip meals on the plane, just eat beforehand or when you land. Because even the preparation process is like a whole YouTube video about how they prepare it, yeah, is a no for me. And just I don't want fear to be the thing that you put in your forefront as well. I think it's very important I put that message out there that people, as long as you're staying safe and you're washing your hands and you're caring about your personal hygiene, I think we'll be okay. I think it is avoidable, um in the long run. So yeah, I don't think people should go into fear. It might take a while for all of this to settle. And I think you were asking a question about in the meantime what should be done. Did you ask that question as well?
No, but you can
What
go
should
ahead
we
and
do right now?
do that. Say that. Yeah,
Okay.
speak to that.
I'll say in the meantime, because I found it for a long time, like for the last week, quite weird posting about traveling because, like I said, I back post. So it felt a bit strange because I'm like, number one, some people cannot travel. Number two, everyone seems to have a corona, and that's what people kind of want to tune into. So it felt about me going, oh, even though it's a throwback video, whatever, I'm not traveling right now, but it still felt strange. Um, I say the first thing you can do as a content creator, as like a travel creator, is to, show up for your audience the best way that you can. For me, I've kind of transitioned my stories and stuff like that to like, what I do on a day to day when I'm not traveling. Like I
Mm.
said, like I did the whole showcase of me in the lab today. So, gets your audience to know a little bit more about you as a person, your day to day struggles, blah, 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 blah. So this might be opportunities for you to just get closer, connected. Depends on how much you want to share or how little you want to share about yourself. As long as you're being of service and you're sharing right information, you can do like invisible stuff. What I'm talking about, like if you have like a website, fixing all the broken links.
Right.
This is probably not the right time to pitch into brands because everyone's trying to like kind of fix themselves and like take care of their own staffs and stuff like that. So probably not the right time to pitch to brands, but the brands will need you when all this is blown over. Like the travel industry is getting a massive hit, but it will need to recover. And as influencers or travel bloggers or travel creators, you will be needed. So this is time for you to, number one, rest. I think we kind of forget the importance of resting. And I think the universe is just trying to shut down. Like, you guys just stop. Come on, just
Pause.
stop it.
Right.
Just pause for a minute. And, I don't want to be one of the person that's going, oh, during this period, create a whole new brand, a whole new product, a whole new business out of it. No, I think, in this time is starting projects, that you've always wanted to do. And now you have the time. So you can be, you're working from home now. So your commuting time, you've always wanted to start a podcast, you always wanted to start a YouTube channel, you want to start something, you have that extra time and just using it to your best advantage. So yeah, I think those are kind of the things you can implement during this time, and just know that this will only last for a while. It's not going to be a forever thing. So yeah, just keeping on the faith and the hope and all of that. Good energy. Let's say
Yes,
namaste.
it'll work itself out. Even if
Will.
I'm just hoping that it, doesn't become like the zombie apocalypse. Only because
I feel
I was
I feel it's gonna
saying,
get worse before it get better. I feel it's
yeah,
like, when you're tidying your room and like you're like, it looks more messy than when I start. I feel it's gonna get
hmm
much worse. I think Trump, for some scientific people, are saying till June, August, which is like, no. I can't imagine talking about this for another 3 months. Like, please, let's stop now. But again, we
I
talked
have
about
no
Brexit for
problem.
3 years.
Introverts have been waiting for this day.
This is the
I
time to
have been
shine.
prepared. I'm like,
Literally.
stay home?
Ah!
You sure? Because I ain't coming back. I'm cool being home, bro. You ain't say nothing
Oh
but a
my
word.
God. I
And when I
have
say
like
I
a,
stocked up, I am
yeah,
stocked up.
you're
And
good.
by stocked up, I mean I've got Bacardi Coke. I've got coconut Bacardi. I got me a bottle of Tito's. I got some Jack. I got more Coronas. What else I got? I got the beer. I got all the alcohol. I got
You're good.
snacks. Not enough snacks. You can always use more snacks.
Nigga always needs more snack.
My freezer is packed now. Like, my dad was just like, let's go. I'll be there at 7:00 in the morning. And we went to like 5 different grocery stores and got the stuff.
You
You know what
got
I mean? You
everything.
can't get everything here, but it's just like, you don't have
Shop
to
around.
hoard stuff. And my heart definitely does go out to people that can't afford to bulk
Yeah.
buy, and
Yeah.
people that have been living their regular lives. Like, all right, so I don't like just buy one roll of toilet paper at a time, but I also don't buy like 104. So
Yeah.
now the
He's
12
trying
that I
to find.
had and was fine, I'm out of toilet paper. I went to the pharmacy today just to buy some cold and flu medicine, only because my luck, if I do get a regular ass cold, I'll be in the house miserable because everybody stockpiled all the other shit. They were
Yeah.
selling toilet paper for like $12.99, and this is like in the hood. So it's just like no one, and that's why the whole shit was full, because niggas wasn't buying $13 ass fucking toilet paper. Mind
No
you, it
one's
was
gonna
like a
buy that.
roll of like 6 or a roll of 12 or something like that. But I'm
Can
not.
you imagine?
No, we're not
Yeah,
doing
it's
this.
insane. It's insane. I'm not big on holding. I don't think I've even gone shopping. I see people's videos and I want to vomit at the queues. I'm just like, no, not doing that. So I'm just kind of like, probably, I think the last shopping I did, I went to like a local little co-op, very small, basically your equivalent of a corner store. And bought my stuff from there. But definitely people are being a bit opti- cannot speak.
Opportunistic.
That's the word.
I felt it.
And and yeah, there. I feel sometimes, there's a line that you shouldn't cross,
Yeah.
and I feel, every day, we live in a capitalistic society, so every day people take opportunities and use it for their benefit. So it's a norm. But I think some people have definitely crossed that threshold,
Yeah.
where you're just like, come on, dude, like, come on, like, when you stock 70,000
Yeah, there's that
sanitizer in your
line
garage,
between
it's like,
being
come
prepared and
on.
then being
And just
ridiculous.
being greedy. Yeah. So I think definitely my heart goes out to those people that are vulnerable, like, the older people who that, like you said, can afford to stock up and stuff like that. It is quite sad, because in this time they literally are having to buy ridiculous, like, hand sanitizer was in some places 20-40 pounds for a hand sanitizer. This stuff
Yeah.
is £2 normally. Like,
And
are you
pounds
crazy?
to dollars, y'all,
It's
fucking
double.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Fuck y'all for that, okay? Because I remember,
We come
first
in
of all, I had
America,
to
like, I'm a
change.
baller.
I had to change to euros first, and then I was only in London for like 12 hours, 18 hours, and I'm like, how much is this worth? So nothing, essentially. So I don't have any money. So I'm eating pizza again. Got it.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah. Even better
Right.
with the Canadian dollars. Now you feel like a freaking billionaire. Just like, whoa.
Jesus. God damn. Like
But
that's
yeah, it's not
handsome.
that strong anymore. It used to be, the good old days. I feel like an old person saying that. But since Brexit, is trying to stabilize again. But yeah, I think it's something that we will push through as a society. And someone said this is the first or in a very long time that as a collective society we're
Yeah.
expressing something, which I think is, when I say this, I sound so weird. Like, it's very beautiful to watch. I've seen kindness of strangers. People, Vamos. What do you guys use to send people? We use PayPal and stuff. You guys use some
Oh,
other
like
payment,
Venmo and Cash
Venmo and
App
stuff like
and
that.
stuff like
Exactly.
that.
So people are like donating and just seeing people collectively. Like if there's like a war or something, you see people standing up for that country. But the fact that everyone's kind of going through the same experiences and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, you know, it's quite interesting to see how humans have united, figuratively speaking, because we want to be isolated. But you know what I mean? Like we've
Yeah.
united as a tribe, as
Digitally also, and how it's
digitally.
really interesting to see how everybody is connecting digitally at this
Yeah,
point. What I'm
yeah.
seeing in the States is that because a lot of the schools, most of the schools, I would say at this point, are all closed for like the next 2 weeks. Some
Mm,
of them are doing, remote classes and stuff with the kids, and then others aren't. Like I know my friend in Kentucky, I don't think her daughter has to do remote classes. She's also like in fourth grade, so I don't know
yeah.
if they're doing that.
It's
But
like,
I'm
what are you
seeing a
doing?
lot of my teacher friends offer their
Mhm.
services like as resources. It's like, listen,
Mm,
and then also one of my guests is a homeschool teacher. And so she's got services that she's offering. I know one woman that's also who I've been introduced to through Wanda and the Black Women's Travel podcast, who is a mental health provider. And she's
mm,
offering pro bono services for people that, can't necessarily get to their therapist, or people that are like quarantining or isolating themselves at home, where it's just like, okay,
mm.
well, if you need somebody to talk to because this is just not your speed, this ain't your really
Yeah,
flow, I'm here.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
really do love seeing the different ways people are offering of themselves
yeah,
remotely. I think that
yeah.
that's really been nice to see
And
also.
another good thing is the fact that people that suffer from like mobility issues and stuff like
Yes.
that, they've always wanted this, like in terms of like campaigning about having like webinars and stuff like that. And it's always like, oh, it's so difficult to set up. All of a sudden Corona comes over, and within 2 days,
Now,
and
oh, it's happened.
all the companies all of a sudden can work remotely. It's like,
Right,
wow, we thought it
right.
was so difficult. So
Mm-hmm.
having those dialogues and stuff like that, I think is very, very
Yes,
important
yes.
to have. And yeah, is quite interesting to see. And research and stuff that's going to come out of this, in terms of how people behavioral research and stuff like that, just to understand humans a little bit more. There's a lot. It's going to hit us financially, definitely, in terms of a lot of places closing and stuff like that. But I think as collective human beings, I think this is on pretty 2020. They say it's going to be a year, and damn, it's been a year.
Bruh, it showed his ass quick. It's like that friend that can't hold their liquor. You know what I mean? It's just
Bruh.
like, bitch, you had
It's like
2 beers. How you fucked up already? Like, we had 3 months.
three
Not
months.
even,
We ain't
like,
even done with that months.
mind you, that's just when it hit everywhere. People have been dealing. I was scrolling through somebody's Instagram feed, and they had a mask on talking about Corona back at the end of January. So I'm like,
Yeah, it's been a
oh,
while.
so
It's been a
right,
while.
this ain't new. It's just that
Mm.
people it's been traveling, it's been spreading because
Yeah, it's been spreading.
wash their fucking hands, and then also
Oh,
just the design of disease. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
sometimes it's airborne, or if it's
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
surfaces and
You
whatever
just pick it
science.
up. Yeah, yeah,
But it's yeah, shit. This is gonna, like you said, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna get worse. But then it's gonna get better. I mean,
yeah.
one can only hope for the best, because you sit here and just think worst case scenario. I mean, personally, I know I'm not ready for the zombies, but I got a full tank of gas, and I know where my parents live, so I will,
It's gonna be
be
home.
on my way there. I'm going home. Like, fuck the light if
I
necessary.
got
Like,
two
if it
hours
comes
drive, man. You
down,
gonna make it? Are you gonna make
right?
it?
Nope, I only got 10 minutes. All I
Oh,
need is
you're
10 minutes,
lucky.
and I'm there.
I got
Like,
2 hours, man.
shit. My daddy got me. The dog, Binksy, God bless her. She would snitch real quick. But because I can't fight zombies. I don't.
I
That's
know.
the one thing that scares the shit out of me is zombies. So I asked a bunch of my friends, like, what zombie movies do I get into to kind of like,
Just get prepared.
yeah,
Just follow them. Just do the
vampires.
whole hand motion. Just,
Right, that's what I always said. Why don't you just fake
just
it? But
blend
then
in.
I feel like, what can they smell the life on you?
They
You
probably
know what I
smell
mean?
the life in you. That's
Like
how they know.
vampires can hear my heart. You know what I mean? Like they can hear my blood moving and shit like that.
We were
Werewolves
talking
can
about
smell
it.
me. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I love the occult. I love all kinds of monsters and ghosts and spirits,
Ah,
and
Jesus.
I am
But
creative
no
and
zombie.
open-minded enough to believe these shits is real. You know what I mean? Just because we don't see it, like aliens are real, we just don't. You know what I mean? They're just not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily things we can see because they're fucking smarter. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Okay,
I
fight me.
feel
You
you,
know,
girl.
whatever.
I feel
But
you.
I mean, yeah, don't want the zombies because that's your shit. Step out. I quit. Fight me. Do what we gotta do. I'm one
Time
of
out.
you.
I ain't
I'm
playing no
here.
more.
I'm giving in. Like you know how you play the game when you was a kid. You like time out, time out before you got. Wait,
Red,
no,
yeah, no, here I
time out,
come.
bitch.
Like,
You
I'm
got
right
caught.
here, mate.
But
They
thank you
never
so much,
try.
Pelumi. Thank you for joining me this week. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Wow.
I had
I've had
so
such
much
a good
fun.
laugh.
This was such a good chat, and I hope we definitely keep chatting on the internet. Where can the
101%.
people find you? Where can people get to know you and see your life in the lab? And then when everyone's traveling again, where can we find your resources of how to travel safely, affordably, and everything?
So the first thing I'll definitely say is that I'm actually running a course called the Instagram Feed Clinic. Like I said, I kind of design pictures so that people will be interested in going to those locations. So I tend to do like teach people self-timers and stuff like that. But I'm actually designing, or I do it like a one-to-one clinic whereby I break down how your feed can be curated. So if you're like a travel person and you want to be able to pitch to brands and things like that, they tend to come on your Instagram and they tend to look at that as, you know, a CV. So I've been able to pitch to a lot of brands and have a lot of collaboration about that. So if you're interested in fixing up your, you know, you've been saying, you know, I need to fix up my, you know, the feed, make it look aesthetically pleasing and all of that stuff. You can find me on Instagram. I am known as Black as the color dot full stop kintsugi, which is a Japanese word. Kintu. Oh, now I cannot spell it. KINTUSGI. So yeah, you can find me on there. And on my blog page, you can find me www.blackkintsugi.com. And if you want to find me on Twitter, where I tweet about the most randomest thing, not even travel related, just everything and anything, I'm known as PhD underscore fly girl. Yeah,
Oh, that's
you
cute.
can find me on those places. Yeah. Thank you
All
so
right, so
much
I'll
again.
definitely, absolutely, thank you. I'm so glad you reached out. I'll absolutely have all of her links in the episode description, as well as on Travel and Ship, Travel and Ship Podcast. I think no, it's travelandshippodcast.com. Double check that shit. I don't
See?
even. Now you
See?
got me fucking up my own website.
No, when you say it, you're like, what? What? Am I saying it right?
Right? It's like, is it travelandshit.com or travel and shit podcast?
You best not edit this video out, so we
It
won't be
is
done.
Travel and Shit Podcast. God damn. I say this every fucking week. Travelandshitpodcast.com. So you can definitely head there, and I'll have all of Pelumi's links there so that you can get to it. And
Awesome.
don't forget, head over to travelandshippodcast.com so that you can take my listener survey. I'd really appreciate your feedback, guys. Is right on the home screen. So as soon as you get there, the first thing you're going to see, other than my beautiful travel pictures, is take the Travel and Shit listener survey here. So go there, click that, or just go to bit.ly/TNS listener survey. That's it. So again, Pelumi, thank you so much. Guys, definitely check her out. Check out her course and her offerings. And you can follow me on the Instagrams as well, underscore DCARRIE, or at travel and shit with the letter I, not the exclamation mark, with an underscore at the end. So we out here on the internet since we all quarantined and shit. Let's get to know each other. Hit us up on the Instagrams and make new travel friends.
Yay.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Boom. Hey, special bye for the YouTube. Bye,
Take
YouTube.
care, my lovely. Bye.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you.
It
We'll
was
see each
great to
other on
be
the
here.
internet.
Definitely. Take care.
Later, babe. Bye.
Bye bye.